Video live.
Hi there, hopefully that's now a live video and you can see me. Good, we're up and through. Okay, hi. So, Tony Gill from Bristol Physio here, and I'm a physiotherapist. I'm one of the directors or owners of Bristol Physio. I also work for the NHS as a clinical specialist, looking at both simple and complex problems, including spinal pain, complex spinal pain, or simple spinal pain. And well, we're all stuck at home, or a lot of us are. I was in minor injuries today. I'm doing a little bit of work there at the moment, just while we've got this joyous COVID crisis. And for a lot of you guys, you're at home, aren't you? And that's really, really difficult. You're working in an environment that's not your usual environment. For some of you, that's either increasing some back pain you already pre-existingly had. For some of you, you might be trying to just avoid that. And for some of you, you're starting to have old memories of problems you used to have. Just let's start off with, well, what is back pain? Why do we get it? That should be a really, really easy question to answer, but unfortunately it isn't. It definitely isn't all about physically what's going on with our bodies. I quite often send people for MRIs, for investigations, when we're trying to work out, is there something we can do from a physical perspective? But quite often we'll have MRIs that show very normal changes on people, that for some people they might have pain, for other people not. So let's start off with some really simple stats and facts. Around about 50% of us will, as we start to get in our later 30s, 40s and 50s, about 50% of us will have changes to our discs, and they will start to bulge. About 80% will have dehydrated, or what we call desiccated discs in our lower back. Now, you can't drink water and get a better back. It doesn't hydrate them by the amount of hydration we put inside ourselves. This is just normal age changes, like a wrinkle is dehydration of skin. For some people, we see these changes and they might have back pain, but so many people have this without pain, it's difficult to correlate and say that's a reason for your symptoms. And so changes are really normal and normal body adaptations. So as we age and our discs flatten a little bit and bulge a bit, which is completely normal, something has to take the load. So the joints on the side, they thicken up a little bit. And that's a really good thing because they're trying to take a little bit more of the weight. So they're bulking up. For a lot of us, that's absolutely fine. We don't get any problems with that. It's just a normal age change. For others, they might get some pain and discomfort with that. But that's, again, looking at very physical reasons for back pain, and it's more complicated. So when we start delving in and really looking at why do we get back pain, actually there's far more links to all the other things in life. So if we're looking at things like sleep, things like stresses on the body, so whether it be a physical stress, whether it be an emotional stress, whether it be a mental stress, whether it be stress on our system because we're not sleeping well enough. And so we've got really good evidence that people who sleep less, who don't get their good quota at least 7 hours a day, whose sleep is interrupted, they tend to get more episodes of back problems. Now, it could be chicken and egg. You're in back pain and you're having problems and you're sleeping as well. But even when we put this into the equation, we still find that people who aren't sleeping as well, there is an issue with that, with more increased episodes of back problems. So we're all at home, and unlike you, I'm just one of you. It's really easy to sit at home, and how do we manage this? Well, in the evening, turn off that TV. We've all got these smartphones, and using these to keep updated on what's going on COVID-19, looking at all the amazing funny videos our friends are sending us, great as it is, give yourself a cut-off. Say at 10 at night, that phone's gone, I've got no more blue screens, the TV I am turning off, I've got work tomorrow. So we're at home, but we're still in work mode. So give yourself a during the week routine. Phone off at X time, TV off at X time. most of us, if you're lucky enough to live with a family, then with your family start doing different things in the evening, but turn those screens off. We know that that extra blue light does alter your sleep pattern, and if we can just improve your quality of sleep, that's one really simple way of improving your back pain. You know anyway you should be sleeping better, so sleep hygiene, have a think, look it up. That's a great way of actually improving your back without having to do anything specific apart from look after yourself. What other things can we do to improve our backs and look after ourselves in this kind of COVID crisis? So if you work like me a little bit on a laptop or on a computer and you're writing notes or you're emailing or you've got a lot of work to do and you're able to do that, then set yourself up as well as you possibly can. So let me show you what I've done, and this is really simple, okay? So this is, because we can't buy things online anymore, it's difficult. This is a cardboard box that I've cut in half and taped together. So this is my MacGyver moment, and I've set my laptop up on here. It holds on. I've just folded the bottom of the cardboard here and just taped it together, and I've folded the end here to hold the laptop. Can you see now that I've got that screen at a really easy height? So I can now sit in at my kitchen table and I'm at a nice position. I've got a separate keyboard and a separate mouse. These are old and junk lying in my shed because I don't use this anymore. I've got much better stuff at work, but they work perfectly well to plug in and use on my laptop. So I'm in a much happier position here already to do some work from. Working from this laptop separately, even sat down at your kitchen table or a good office table, you cannot work without over time slumping down in your chest, slumping in your lumbar spine, slumping in your chin. So your back is already in a compressed, flexed position for multiple hours. Backs don't like that. So can you change that? So posture is complicated and arguable whether how much posture changes do or don't add to back pain, but we know, for those of you who know sitting for long periods you get more back problems or neck problems or wherever, don't do it. Change your position. This is a really simple way of getting yourself nice and happy. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Right, let's have a look at some of these questions. So there we go. Nathan, hi there. Good. Glad you're liking it. Hi, Alex. Hi, Charlotte. Okay, so simple things. I've got another one I do for here. Now, some of you who might have, like me, families, let me just go and grab something for you. And how many of you have had these joyous things from IKEA? Now, I've got twin boys who are 6, and we've still got hovering around these lovely steps that they used to use where they'd step up to their loo or step up to help us at a kitchen table. They still use them to step up and wash their hands. But they're also really good if I use exactly that setup that I've got here for my laptop. If I put that laptop setup on a kitchen surface, so I'm going to spin this round now so you can see. So hold that thought, guys. I'm going to spin this round just for a moment. And what I'm now going to do is get that same setup, and I'm just going to plonk it on those little things. And can you see, I've now got my laptop screen nice and high. I've made a standing desk. It's cost me a couple of steps I had already. I've got my keyboard, got my mouse, and I can work from standing. It took me 30 seconds to go from a sat position to just moving stuff across and going into a standing desk. So I've got a sit to stand already for the cost of a cardboard box and a couple of IKEA steps I already had. You know, this could be a cardboard box, this could be anything. If you've got stuff lying around, great. If you have already got a standing desk, please start using it. But you can go in between these, sit to stand, 3, 4, 5 times a day. It's not about standing all day, and it's not about sitting in a good posture all day. It's about change. Your body likes to move, it likes to adapt, it likes to change. So stand a bit, sit a bit. You'll find it's a lot more comfortable. If you've got any more of these steps, and I've got one more, then actually putting that step under one foot so you raise your hip can also really help. So by that I mean, let me just change my angle. Actually, putting your foot on one of the steps can just change your back angle a little bit, and for some people that can make a real difference. You can also do that if you're ironing or doing general housework, if you're washing up. If statically standing you get a bit of backache, try putting one foot on a step, alternate to the other, and it can just shift and change your pelvic position, and for some people give them a lot more comfort when you're doing those simple household tasks. But great for this when you're having to do work from home as well. So I'm going to turn the screen around now and go back to where we were. Okay, so let's have a look. So yeah, Charlotte's put, she still has a step and she's only 5 foot. So exactly. And Nathan just started using a standing desk at home. How long should you stand for? So there isn't a golden rule, but don't try and think you have to stand all day. If it's 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes standing, and then you go to sitting and vice versa, just listen to your body. A really good tip to me is on your phone, if you can, just set a bing for every hour or so, or if you can set a reminder so it tells you every half hour, every hour, move, change position. You might find that's perfect for you. Some people stand for hours a day and they're really happy with it. I don't actually, I don't like that. I do find after half an hour, I'm starting to get a little bit uncomfortable and my body says sit down. So my best advice is listen to your body, Nathan, or anyone else who asks that. Okay, so please, if you're listening to this or you're watching, ask me questions. It's a live Q&A and I will try and keep on going with any questions you have and try and answer them. So really simple stuff there. What else can help? Well, eating does make a difference, but not necessarily for the way we think. So putting on excess weight around our tummy, it's not the weight that gives us back pain. So when we look at large studies, people who are bigger don't get more back pain. What we find is people who have visceral fat around their tummy, so we call that tummy fat or central obesity is the correct diagnosis. That fat itself, the cells produce a hormone called leptin. Now, leptin is actually an appetite suppressant. So when your body produces it, it's telling your body, I'm full, I don't need any more. But as you get more and more fat, the body gets more and more leptin. So the body gets tolerant. And it's a bit like people who are diabetic, they get insulin resistant. People who put on more and more tummy fat get leptin resistant. And the difficulty with that is while it's an appetite suppressant, it's also inflammatory. So there's a really good study from Michigan with 500 females, and it looked at how much leptin was in a knee. So they took samples out of a knee and how much arthritis was in the knee. And there's quite a high correlator. The higher the leptin, the more arthritis, up to 38% more severe arthritis. Well, inflammation in your body doesn't care if it's your back, your shoulder, your knee, your hip. Inflammation's inflammation. If you've got a back that's not great, managing at home means keeping that tummy fat off. Don't build up the inflammatory process in your body. It's almost like having a dormant volcano and you're turning it into an erupting volcano. It's a really bad idea. We're going to be here for months, guys, and that's really difficult at home when we're moving less, when it's easier to just eat what's around in the cupboards. So try and keep that tummy fat down. It reduces the inflammation in your body and therefore helps manage your back while you're at home. Yeah, again, I'm just one of you. I am a sugar junkie at heart. And my top tip, don't buy it. If it's not in the house, you can't eat it. If you haven't got umpteen packets of biscuits or chocolate, I know it's Easter, but after this, then you can't raid a cupboard for it. And so be strict with yourself. Someone told me this for the kids. They can have a little snack box at home, and once the snack box is gone, there's nothing else. Do the same for yourself. So your snack box might have a little bit of fruit in it, and something else if you so need. Some nuts are really good. They're a good fat and they tend to fill you up. Once you finish with your snack box, that's it. You're not allowed to raid the cupboards. Start rehydrating. Drink some more water instead. I hope that made sense. Okay. So let's carry on from there. All right. So other ways of helping manage your back while you're here. There's some good exercises that you can do on a regular basis to help manage your back. There's a really good spinal specialist called McGill, no relation to mine, I'm afraid. He's an American spinal specialist, and there's 3 exercises called McGill's Big 3 or Top 3. You'll find them on YouTube. There's a really good link. Let me have a look. I'm just going to find your link. Hang on. And it's Strong Life Physio. So lower back pain exercises, the big 3, Strong Life Physio. He does these really well on YouTube, but I'm going to show you me doing them. So from here, the first one is called Bird Dog. I'm going to do it to the side so hopefully you can see. And what we're doing is we're going onto all 4s in this position. And I'm just going to move my table away. In an all 4 position, what you're doing is you're keeping your back nice and flat, and you're straightening the back leg, keeping the back flat. So I'm going to use my left leg straightening, and my right arm comes up at the same time. So it's called a bird dog, and you'll find this in lots of videos on YouTube. But that bird dog, I'm deliberately not putting my knee all the way to the ground. And the reason for that is it tends to twist my back a little more. And the only focus of this is keeping your back nice and flat. Imagine you had an orange or an apple on your back. Don't spill that apple, don't spill that orange. And you keep going until you get a little bit of fatigue, probably around your glutes or hamstring area. That's absolutely fine to do. You can also do this where you statically hold that position and hold for a count of 8 or 10 or 12 seconds, maintain that position, and then control back down again. They both work and they're both a useful exercise. What they're trying to do is relatively stiffen some of the core muscles while you're moving your arms and legs away, so it's allowing you to start building control. The second exercise is a side plank, and that side plank position, we're on our elbow. Let's see if I can bring the screen down a little bit more. There we go. So we're on our elbow and we're on our knees. And what we're trying to do, for some of you, if your arm feels a little tired instead, put your other arm on to brace. You're using both arms and you're lifting your trunk away and your bottom up. So you'll find your muscles under here, your oblique muscles switch on, and you're holding that position, holding for a count of 10, and then slow control back down again. So that's a side plank. We can also do that from a full extended position. It's harder and it puts more strain and stress on. If your body's able to do that, that's fine. There are supersizing with arms up, legs up, but a basic McGill top 3 on the knees, back just gentle, relaxed, and a little kind of flat. You feel loose there, and then we're lifting up and we're holding that stiffness underneath, holding that position for about 8 to 10 to 12 seconds, and then slowly back down again. So that's the second. These are all strengthening exercises. I'm a passionate believer in strength. We tend to be weak, and weakness gives us tightness. So stretching is really good for a back, but you can't stretch a weakness away, whereas you can strengthen a tightness away if the weakness is driving it. If that makes sense, Basically, get strong. It's just as important, if not more so, than just being flexible in your back or in your legs. The third exercise is lying down on your back, bending one knee and being flat in your back. So the only important part is your back stays flat. So push it down to the ground. You put your arms to the side and your head down. And from this position, keep your back flat, raise your head off the ground and just hold that position. You'll find your muscles all down from your neck down to your tummy, all switch on to hold that position and that flat position in your back. Hold for about 8, 10, 12 seconds if you can, and slowly down again. And again, up we come. If you're able to, you can lift your shoulders slightly. It'll work your tummy muscles slightly harder again. Holding that back flat. Again, holding for about 8, 10, 12, whatever seconds you can, and slowly back down again. They're McGill's top 3 exercises. And they're really useful for helping your body. I'm just checking my questions. Helping your body get a little stronger. So hang on, I'm just having a little look. So yeah, Strong Life Physio, McGill. Is there any good progression for the bird dog? Anthony, you've just asked. I do like a variation of the bird dog. So that bird dog position, rather than just doing a leg extended, I find if you lift the leg up, you'll get more glute activity. If you straighten, you'll get more hamstring activity. So that's a variation I like to give. We can also start moving the leg in various positions on that bird dog. So we're going out to the side, which is more like a fire hydrant, they're called. And that fire hydrant, or it's also called a dog pee, but it makes your glute med work a little hard, and they're really useful muscles around the pelvis to stabilize. The stronger the pelvis is, the better your leg is. Your back is, Anthony. And my other bird dog progression, I really like building power in that pelvis. So for people who are fit and well and not getting any real back pain but trying to manage and optimize their back for the long term, a really good exercise is a founder or a modified founder. So this comes from a different spinal specialist in America who's a chiropractor, and actually I really like some of his exercises. So his founder, he does standing, which if you've not got back pain or your back settled and you're trying to manage it, is a really powerful way of keeping your back, your hamstrings, your glutes, everything strong, and I'll demonstrate that. So if you want to see a video on it, if you go to Bristol Physio on YouTube, go into our actual YouTube channel and type founder or modified founder. There'll be 2 variations. My modified is a modification I've made, but essentially I start off, I'll cut my head off because you don't need that. Okay, I start off with just my legs apart, feet apart, and I just soften my knees and I lean. So I've got a really good lean position until my hamstrings kick into a stretch. Don't bend the knees too far. So that lean, I'm going to go up now until I get that real stretch in my hamstrings. That's my start position. Okay, and from that start position, I'm then going to bring my arms out as far forwards as I can reach and come a little closer. Good, and hands forwards and up. Go up as high as you can with them, as high as you can. And I'm holding something really simple like a ball. I find that helps. I'm going to hold that position static for about 30 seconds. And I'm going to breathe, abdominal breaths. Breathing into my tummy. My tummy expands as I breathe in. And you'll get a real stretch and shake. Now, whatever fatigues first in that position tells you where you're mainly weak at. So if it's your hamstrings, you'll feel it there. If it's your bum muscle and your glutes, you'll feel it there. If it's your spinal muscles that have got weak, you'll feel weaker there. For people who are starting to get more upper back and neck problems, I quite often, with the ball extended there, get them to start gently lifting up and slowly down again, and they'll feel a real burn across their thoracic or mid-back, probably because that's been curved in that laptop posture for ages as well. But they're called a modified founder. The founder itself you'll find loads on YouTube, but if you go to Bristol Physio YouTube, there'll be 2 founders. The one I've done both of them, and there's me exercising. I'll explain as you go along. Okay. So Anthony, that's the position that. Hang on. So let me have a look. That's the position that kicks off my back pain. It gets very tired very quickly. Anthony, which position? Do you mean my founder? If you say yes, founder. If you mean the dog pee or the glute med one, let me know that one. So tell me which position and I'll try and answer that. Ed, with the third exercise, should I switch the bent legs between reps or is it the same either way? There is no right or wrong. You can switch legs. What I'd say is fatigue one side first, because if you're doing alternates, it'll take a long time to get to a fatigue. Do one leg first, get to a fatigue, and then change the other leg. But you always do opposite arm and leg with that bird dog. And then the same for all the other exercises. Try doing either your holds for 10 seconds, do a reps of about 12 to 15 if you feel able to, and then change to the other side. Your own fatigue level is personal to you. I'd say if you can hold for about 12 to 15 seconds and you can do reps of 10 to 15, then you can move on and progress. You can make it harder. You can put a little bit of weight and load onto by lifting your chest more for that third exercise. But don't ever let the back arch, and you're not trying to curve inwards. You're keeping that flat back. Okay. Have we got anything else? So Anthony, do get back to me with your what position you mean, which one kicks off your back pain. I'll try and answer that. What else helps with your back? So they're all power-based exercise. Mobility, how to move your back. If you think at the moment, sorry, you meant for the one you're on your back. Okay, Ed, yeah, for the one you're on your back, when you stay lying down, your leg up flat, you're doing the lift up and hold for 10 seconds, 12 seconds, and repeating by 10, then change legs, yes, and alternate side to side, because you're trying to optimize on both sides, and when the leg is lifted on one, it will change how much tension and torque you put through your obliques on one side, but you will be using both at the same time. It'll also offload one side of your spine a little more than the other, so I would change sides, yes. The founder position, your lower right back. So that was Anthony. All right, so go into YouTube and look up prone founder, and that's a starting position where you're doing the same on the ground, but your feet are tucked, your arms are up. I'll just show you. Okay, it's a starting founder if it's too aggressive to do the floor one. So that starting one is, I'll just bring this down a little more. Okay, if you're able to see, okay, so your arms will be out in front. Your feet, you can't see my feet at the moment, but they're going to be this way. With my toes down. I'm not going to have my toes down this way, I'm going to have my toes up. Okay, so my toes up, my hands stretched, and my forehead down, and I'm going to be in this position, and my fingertips, I'll let you see, are, I'm really out on my fingertips, stretched out as far as I can, and I'm holding that position. I'm going to tuck my bottom into the ground, so my groin tucks, and my glutes squeeze on, and then all I'm going to do is soften my hands, so I could almost lift my hands up, and hold that static position. And if I can do that, that's one position. The second position, which is even harder, hands turned this way. So twist the hands round, and then lifting them up and inwards, and then lifting my head off the ground, but still tucking my bottom, holding that position. Third position, hands up, and tucking and lifting up, holding that position as high as you can. Now, not all specialists agree. Those don't agree with what McGill does. McGill says doing that kind of dish or prone dish puts more load and pressure through the disc. He's very disc-centric with a lot of his thoughts around diagnosis of lower backs. I tend to not be, and I find if you can gain power, pain inhibits muscle. So if you've had back pain for a while, slowly your back muscles switch off. The stabilizers switch off. They actually grow fat in them, which is called fat atrophy in multifidus and other stabilizing muscles. And so we've got to try and reverse or improve the back power. Just ignoring it is not a good idea. Now McGill's not ignoring it, but he's reducing the pressure in the disc while he's trying to activate. So I'd say start on McGill's, and if they're getting easy, some of the prone founder positions are useful, and if you can start building a tolerance on the ground, then go up to a standing founder position. Okay. All right, so let's go back to some more thoughts about exercise. Okay, so we were looking at, I was going to show some mobility based. Now, my view on back is I take a lot of this information from some really good people, and I've kind of used it over the last 18 years and slowly built my thoughts and my repertoire on what's improving people's lower back. So I like a roll back position. There's a fab physio, again, I've stolen loads of great physios over the years, called Shirley Sharman, who is in her 80s now, and she is utterly amazing. And she taught a position called the roll back, which is excellent for hips, backs, shoulders, for lots of different reasons. But what it's doing is using a pelvic girdle normally. So when we bend, we should relatively start movement from the hips, not from the spine. Doesn't mean your back shouldn't bend. It means that the initiation is from the powerful part. And so a lot of people with back pain stiffen up around their hip, and they bend from their back, and it causes them more problems or pain. If you look at kids, young kids don't bend and move like that. Young kids bend and move from the hip and pelvis. So what they tend to do is they lean, their back is relatively flat, and they stand up using their power in their glutes and pelvis. That position, not upright and extending and arching their back, because it tends to switch on the muscles more, and if you're in pain, that spasm increases. So keeping the back just tall and long, lean forward, stand up using the legs. Trying to teach people that who've already got into a bad pattern from a standing or sitting position is hard because they've already loaded their spine. So I tend to teach it in that all four position again. And what I'm trying to do in that all four is roll back. So I'm keeping my back absolutely flat now, relaxed and flat, and I'm rolling back, rolling my bottom towards the heels, keeping a flat back. And at some point I run out of range in my hips, that's fine. And then as I start to come back up again, you'll feel your bottom muscle actually gently tense to bring you back up. So I'm rolling down. This is a great exercise to do first thing in the morning. And you're in bed, turn around and just start doing some hip mobility. And what you're really doing is teaching your hips and pelvis to initiate the movement rather than your back. And so doing this for 30 to 60 seconds first thing in the morning. This is Bristol Physio YouTube exercise 1. It's my most important exercise to help with how shoulders and hip girdles and backs are supposed to move well. For those of you with kids, remember when they were really young and they just started to learn to move, even pre-crawling, they'd rock. They were learning where their shoulders and hips were in time and space. They started here, didn't they? They started with rocking. Some of you will have that memory. It's a basic primal movement pattern. And if you're in pain, you sometimes forget those movement patterns. That's how we're supposed to bend in the first place. So try starting a movement or mobility-based exercise in the morning. Teach your body, bend from the hips, use the pelvis, not overloading the back all day long, and that can sometimes help. Okay, so what else do I do mobility exercise-wise? This is only me, my personal view is power's more important, and so I would prefer that in the afternoon or morning or evening, whatever suits you, when you're working from home, get out and go for a long walk if you can. With your walk, your half an hour walk or whatever the government's advising, make it have purpose. So we're a hunter-gatherer by design, and if you walk with purpose, if your legs are stretched, you already have a position where your back leg is stretching that front hip flexor. Your front leg is starting to stretch the back of the hamstring muscle. And so walking with pace and purpose allows you to understand how your body works, mechanically driving forwards. Now, walking in straight lines, while it does switch on some of the core, doesn't switch on anywhere near as much as you've got a path that's windy, that's a little bit of uneven terrain. So if you haven't got back pain, or your back pain's fine with walking, walk hard, walk fast, walk with purpose. You'll switch on the right muscles, you'll engage lots more core, and the change in direction gives you even more of this switch on of your multifidus and transversus and other core muscles. Everything has to switch on, but walk tall. Don't walk hunched over, and don't walk with your chest out. Walk normally, nice and tall, and feeling almost like a stretch in your hamstrings, a stretch in your front groin area, and you can feel your bum muscle is alive. That's how to walk, and that's an excellent way of starting to manage back pain as well. Okay, I'm just seeing if we've got any more comments. So nothing more from there at the moment. Okay, there are some ways of helping with your back while working from home. So think about changing your up-down desk, your workstation posture. Make it out of a cardboard box if you can't get anything. It works just as well. Don't put on that extra weight during these few months. It's not great for your back, and long term will give more inflammatory process in your body. Please sleep well because it will allow your body to refresh. Get out and exercise. General exercise like walking is just as good and will release some of those endorphins. Now, I'm a physio. I am biased to exercise, but exercise, make no mistake, is the wonder drug. It reduces heart attacks, strokes. It reduces mental health conditions. It reduces stress and anxiety. It helps you sleep better. It manages your whole system, and your endocrine system, all of your hormones regulate far better when we've had some general exercise. Exercise doesn't have to be in the gym, and you can't go at the moment anyway. Exercise is you being active, out walking, cleaning the house, going up and down the stairs, actually going out in the garden, playing with the kids if you're lucky enough to have one. That's activity, so make sure you're physically active. But playing with the kids and having fun and being out of breath is perfect for your back. If you're out of breath, you're working your core muscles. If you're out of breath, you're using your big leg muscles. And I'd say that's just as important way of managing your back, and also your happiness and reducing your levels of stress or anxiety. My final thoughts before you go, or we finish this off for today, is don't underestimate how important managing stress and anxiety are. The biggest predictors for back pain within all the westernized world is stress. And stress is a physical stress, a mental stress, an emotional stress, a lack of sleep stress. They're all stresses on your system. You're a complex jigsaw, and everyone is unique. Your stresses might be very different from someone else's. You both have that same stress in your system, but yours has more effect on your back than someone else's because their body's genetic kind of profile is more resilient to that aspect, or their life circumstance, and they've built a resilience around one thing you might not have. And so please listen to what your body's telling you. What is it you need to change and adapt? Let's face it, we've got months now to work out what is important in life. And it's certainly not materialism, as we've all found out. The lovely expensive holidays, if you were lucky enough to go on, they've all finished, haven't they? So getting back to simple basics, but also looking after your own mental, physical, emotional health are really, really important to manage your back. So get some rules in, stick to them, and that's a really good way of starting to manage your back for the long term. I hope that's been of help. I think I've been 40 minutes on now, and I've got no further questions from anyone. So I will be doing a few more of these over the next few weeks and months. I hope that's been of use to you. Bye now.